Yeah.
No, I'll work soon.
Good morning. Good.
Yeah, I'm not sure, I can.
Hi, Anna, how are you?
Good, how are you today?
I'm doing well.
Good.
How's the numbers crunching?
Yeah.
I see in her
They're
face,
crunching away.
she's a numbers person. She's very intense. It's great.
Yeah, so afterwards, come in and bring your time cards, right?
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I didn't know you wouldn't have access.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, but, Christian, guys.
Refill your coffee cup, hey, there's not ours.
Tracy Lloyd.
Like,
Okay.
you have to review time cards than I do.
Okay. They can't, can they do it on their phone app? Okay.
I think so, we were looking at Chris's time card yesterday, maybe we can.
Okay, let's do that, because that'd be beneficial, right? Because they don't have a computer, they just have a phone.
And we did, they can finish the on-call, complaint type with the on-call actual work.
Oh, that's something
But
important.
it is Martin's 25 dollars and divided
Hey,
into 4 hours.
Brandon.
Gave him a raise for his salary.
Ben Phillips is no longer.
And then I used to,
Okay.
just shift to make it so now.
You wanna try this?
Okay.
He was short.
He was, yeah, so he was still on call for the Sunday. He gets,
Yes, already put that in.
okay, but I added 4 hours for him that Sunday to make up for it.
Like to wait.
On this page, see what I mean, because he was short 4 hours, and he was still on call for that.
That might be the way
Another
I
couple.
found it, because I would have had to calculate it.
Okay, so I just gave him on-call hours.
This is the first time that we've all been together in person.
That needs to be.
Okay,
If that
that'll
works,
work.
That
I'll,
needs to be
Okay.
said. I bet you are.
okay,
You,
take a listen.
that's a presidential remark.
Yeah.
It's working?
It is, from all the way over here.
Crazy that,
Guys, we're gonna wait a few minutes because I see
so
some walking in.
it's so different than the ADP we were using before.
Right, I don't know why.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's chilling. Oh, the silence. Oof.
Good morning.
Conversation killer.
Buzz killer.
I just realized, I owe you a telephone number.
Yes, you do.
I work in the packaging business.
Oh, is there a couple behind you? Oh, wait, here they come. I didn't see who they were, I just saw them coming.
Is it 5 years in Indiana? Before.
So this is how it's supposed to.
This is how it's. And yes, I'm gonna say something.
Hey, you know what, it'd be probably a good idea.
There's some chairs there, and
There's
a couple
some
couches
couches
over
there.
there.
Packaging was a big money spent for many years.
You have to plan ahead of our age, if you wanna get up there and have meetings, not the couch.
You know what?
You know, you got these people where you just sit up, like, over there.
Okay, everyone, we're gonna get started. It is Saturday, June 19th, at a little bit after 9. Wanted to give everybody time to take a seat. Before we start, I just wanna say, hey, this is the first time since, I believe, last February, that the board and staff have all been together, and we have community members in the audience. So, big day, very exciting. And so, welcome back, everybody, and I think we've got a lot of good things to talk about in the months going forward. The first item on the agenda is members' time. And so if you're here and you have a question or a comment, if you'll stand and give us your name and your address, and we'll try to answer your question.
Hi, Jan Amenhauser, 4519 Nordic Way. I was just wondering of the status of the social pavilion.
Okay. Did everybody hear the question? The status of the pavilion. We've signed the contract. I signed this week the notice to proceed. Those of you in the construction business know what that means. That means we're ready to go. We have a delivery date of materials of sometime after August 9th. We are in line, with Morton Buildings. We are optimistic that the building will be up this fall. Obviously, we had hoped for the summer, that didn't happen. But what the first activity that you will see, and I really should turn this over to John and Bill, will be an excavation of the area out here, correct, John? Dee?
That's correct.
Okay. And timing on that?
Well, we've got, do you want me to go through it now? I can go through it.
Yeah, we'll come back, but just so you know, it's in process, and we're as excited as you are about having a pavilion, for the outdoor activity. Anybody else? Robin?
Robin Henley, 121 Green Sea Terrace. I want to thank Brian and the maintenance staff. They built us a second bocce court, and it is awesome. And they did a great job, and I want to thank them for that. Thank you. That's great.
Heard lots of comments about that last night at the happy hour.
It looks real nice. Fits in real nice.
Yeah, good job.
Bill helped too.
Good job, good job.
She gonna give, you
Okay, anybody else?
Probably later.
All right, let's move on. We'll call the meeting to order at 9:04. Roll call.
Roll call. Ken Martin. Here. Bill Leisure.
Here.
Bob Fuller. Here. Pat McGrath.
Here.
John Eddie.
Here.
And Chris Taylor. Here. John Dickinson here.
All present.
Yes.
We've established a quorum, also at just about 9:04. Do I have a motion to set the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Bob Kohler,
I'll second it.
second by Dan Martin. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I don't have to wait for that feedback.
Yeah. Don't have the Zoom delay today.
Yeah, this is great. Okay, next item is volunteer recognition. If everybody is aware, we've had a number of efforts that, have culminated in the last, couple of months. And I did want to recognize, the people who have been instrumental in adding so much, frankly, to the community. And I see at least one, here, and so I'll start with social and rec. As everyone is aware, we struggled last year without having much, if any, social and recreation activities. Just as soon as, the COVID restrictions started to be, diminished, social and rec stepped in. We still had an Easter egg hunt and party. And so we just wanted to recognize Robin Henley and, Erin Mikulich for their very hard work. Mug and certificate. Thank you for that work.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so I have one here also for Erin. I think maybe Marie Fab is on our Zoom portion of the meeting. So we did want to recognize, a number of, volunteers who participated and led the community cleanup and the annual planting that took course over the space of several weeks. And those people are Marie Fab, and Marie, if you're out there, thank you very much. Alicia Bitzer, Linda Lackey, I see her there. Terry Eddy. And, those are, I believe they're all members of the landscape committee, but this was a carve-out, effort by that committee, and we thank them very much. So Marie and Linda, I see you out there, please stop by to pick up your mug, or we'll get it to you because you need this mug. Okay. And last but certainly not least, the trio that is always involved in helping us plan for the long term. Chris Humble, who is out there, Thank you, Chris. Jay Barbasha and Rick Etling. Those are the three, volunteers who not only led the strategic long-range planning effort last year, well, in 2019, but provided to the board an updated survey this spring so that we could be sure that the planning we had done, was still effective in terms of, the members of our community and our facilities and our amenities. So thank you to those three gentlemen. We have a certificate for you as well, and mugs. So I do want to thank you. I did want to say just one more sentence. As we moved into self-management, and the board has interviewed, wonderfully qualified people for the positions, one of the things that we impressed upon all the candidates was that Hidden Valley is largely run by an army of volunteers. And nothing has changed. COVID was not going to set this group back. And so I did just want to thank everybody for their continued efforts on behalf of the community. Okay, on to the business. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the May 21st meeting.
Hey, Pat, before we do that, I did have two minor edits.
Minutes, okay, wait. So do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I will
Make
make
a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Chris, second
Jay Eddy.
by Jay Eddy. Comments or questions? Go ahead.
Okay, so on page 2, under the treasurer's report, says gave the report as well as the report of the finance, and we should just add there, and audit committees, because later in the next page it references that. So page 2, first line, treasurer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the finance and audit should be inserted, and committees plural.
Okay.
And then on the third page, at the very bottom, nominating a leadership development, this is really minor, but the period got carried away there, so it says for review, ... I think we meant to have a period.
Thank you,
there.
Mr. Coleman.
Sorry, occupational hazard.
No comment.
Those are my only edits.
Okay, so we have a motion
No comment.
and a second. Chris and John Eddy, are you willing to amend your motion to approve those
Does that
revisions?
period go,
John.
oh, no, where's that period supposed to be? I see where it's at, Kohler.
Shut up and approve.
All right, okay, approve it, yes, fine.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Thank you. Treasurer's report.
Okay. Thank you, Madam President. As I typically do, I'll combine the treasurer's report with the report of the Finance Committee and the Audit Committee. So I'll use the treasurer's dashboard as my guide in providing my comments here this morning. So for the 10-month period ended April 30th, remember we are a fiscal year that ends June 30th, we are showing a very strong result of operations. Through the 10-month period, we're showing a surplus after our transfers to reserves of about $437,000, which is a significant amount of money, but there are some very specific reasons for that I'd like to just outline quickly. Our revenue is about $52,000 greater than budget, or about 2.5%, and the reason for that is the dramatic increase in real estate sales this year. We've picked up an additional $40,000 in entrance fees because of the number of real estate sales, and then related to that, another $15,000 in resale certificate income. So that's what's contributed to the addition to the revenue side. On the expense side, we're about 18% under budget, or about $320,000, and there's a couple of reasons for that. In total, we're about $115,000 under budget in labor, and that's because we had a couple of unfilled positions. We had a maintenance person on leave, and the closure of the Highlands Pool last summer. Plus, on top of that, there are payroll taxes, and then there are benefits associated with that. So when you add that all up, it's about $115,000. We're also under in the snow removal category. We had a good year with snow for skiing, but due to the timing of that snow, we really didn't have a lot in March and April, so the snow removal budget, we're about $73,000 under budget. In the grounds maintenance category, we're about $20,000 under budget currently, but that's basically timing. I can tell you that in May and June, I have seen a lot of invoices come through, so we're gonna see that start to absorb some of that surplus. And then additionally, we're under in the professional fees category, about $35,000. We haven't spent as much on legal fees or on collection fees this year because our receivables are in pretty good shape. So, overall, a very positive, financial picture to, provide. And, our typical plan is at the end of the fiscal year, once our audit is completed, we move any surplus into our reserves. So a couple other comments. Our financial position is strong. As you know, I always comment that the fact that we're in very good financial position, we don't have any debt. Our days operating cash on hand at the end of April is about 220, and it spikes at the beginning of the quarter because we have quarterly assessments coming in, and then it goes down again. So it varies between 220 and 180. Finance Committee likes to see that between 4 and 6 months of operating cash on hand. Our receivables at the end of April, $106,000. We have one significant account that we are working on, which is tied up in an estate, but compared to last year at this time, we're about $6,000 less in receivables. And overall, I just got a report yesterday, about 4% of our accounts have not paid their assessment. So that's really good.
It's really good.
The benchmark is about 5%. So a good work on our receivables. A lot of HOAs did not fare well during this pandemic, but we have done very well. Our investments continue to perform well. The investment fund at April 30th was about $2,570,000, and that includes about $400,000 of unrealized appreciation in the portfolio. Our investment managers, Guyasuda and Somerset Trust, have done a really good job for us. Our capital budget, we have spent about 54% of the total budget so far. That number will go up as the Ridgeview Road Drainage Project gets finished up. A couple other small things are finished here by the end of the year, and I think with our underage in there, we're going to be able to add a few parking spaces here by the end of June if timing comes through for us. So I think we'll see that number go up a little bit the next time I report out. I also like to share some non-financial statistics. So our maintenance department continues to do a good job clearing work orders. We're at about an 86% clearance rate year to date, slightly under target, but we did have a person on medical leave for 2 months, which was a contributing factor, as well as in April, our maintenance team worked on some special projects, including putting an extra gate up at the salt dome, participating in the cleanup day, and doing some internal projects here at the South Ridge Center. Some other measures I always like to comment on are the number of architectural control permits that have been issued. So year to date, we have issued about 245 of those. And those are a good indicator to look at because it gives us an idea of homeowners are reinvesting in their properties. So and it's very consistent with where we are from last year. And then lastly, I always comment on our real estate activity. So the number of units sold, courtesy of Mike Mikulich, tells me that through May 31st, we have sold year to date, number just really shocks me, 144 units have been sold here compared to the same period last year. There were 70. And the number of properties currently listed for sale, which is probably stale now because Mike gave me these numbers on Tuesday, there were 7 units for sale. And same period last year, there were 50 units for sale. So about less than 1% of the mountain is currently for sale. I also just want to talk a little bit about, as you know, you've probably received a couple communications about our accounting system and work that we're currently doing on that. So I'm going to ask our accounting manager, Anna, to give us a little update on where we are with the TOPS implementation.
Well, we continue to make progress on the TOPS implementation. 4 of the 5 communities have been uploaded to TOPS. That's the owners, their addresses, their information. We're working on loading up the beginning balances as of 5/31. We've done a lot of elimination of duplicate information that was in the FirstService software. We've been checking a lot of the addresses and making corrections before we uploaded it to the new software. And we're cross-checking the integrity of the upload. That's what Chris is working on today because we were just informed that the communities were uploaded. And we still have the largest one, Hidden Valley, with 794 records to be uploaded. So it's going well, and we're thankful. We're working with CIT, the new bank, to make sure that we get the accounts opened. We have been communicating with the homeowners through email, through the newsletter. Thank you, Chris. And a letter was sent out, and Bob updated in his treasure report in the newsletter. that homeowners with automatic withdrawal need to be proactive and contact First Service directly, to stop those payments for July. And ADP, we had a successful payroll, 8 full-time employees, 9 lifeguards. There was one glitch, there was one pay element that didn't map correctly, but we'll get Martin squared away on his 4 hours for next pay. Brian even had a good workaround. And we also signed a contract, Bob did. He's the official contract signer for all of this, so if anything happens
Yeah, thanks, Ava.
with the bank.
Good deflection.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. See that buzz coming?
Yeah.
Good one, Anna.
Well, it has to be a board member, so Bob is with OSG. They're the ones that are going to be printing the July statements and coupon booklets for the residents, so. But we need the bank accounts in line to give them, they have to do what they call a scan line testing in order to make sure all the banking information is correct, so it's everything has to line up perfectly, but it looks like things are falling nicely into place, and there will be a grace period, as Bob, have you mentioned that?
I'll mention that.
Oh, okay, for,
And as the accounting manager, are you pleased with the top software so
yes.
far?
Oh, yeah, so far, yeah.
Okay.
There's a few things, we have a meeting on Monday that we have to ask questions about, where to find certain information and how to do certain things to continue moving forward.
Okay,
But,
great.
yeah, no, it's transparent, it's user-friendly, it already has some very nice reporting features, and, I think that it will really do a very nice job for the community.
Okay, Bob?
Will we be ready to be self-dependent July 1st?
That is the plan, John.
First Service will not.
First Service is under, the contract will end June 30th, but they are contractually required to provide us with information for 45 days after the end of the contract. So, even though their official role will end on June 30th between July 1 and 8/15, they will still be in touch with us. They still owe us the June 30 financial statements. They will provide the traditional reports they do to our auditors, assist Anna and Chris with any information that they need, so.
Good.
And so far, that has been working out. I mean, we've requested information, usually it's about a 24-hour, 48-hour turnaround, and we get it, so far that has been working.
Okay, Bob?
Yeah,
go ahead.
so, I would just add, so as Anna mentioned, we will be sending out statements as soon as we are able to print them, and we're currently working on that process right now, so that's why you've received, as homeowners, several communications about that, so we certainly do appreciate your patience, so, just watch your mail and your email, you'll be notified as to when those statements will be going out, and it would be my intention that in the month of July, we would certainly waive any late fees if there any error on our part in getting statements out, if there's any delay, so please don't be concerned about that. The 2 other points that I would add would be that the Finance Committee has not met since our last meeting. However, on Thursday of this week, we'll be meeting with our insurance agent to just review our renewals for our policies and just look at the coverages, et cetera. And the Audit Committee has not met since our last meeting. And Pat, that concludes my treasurer's report.
When's that meeting?
It'll be Thursday afternoon, John.
No,
Yeah, absolutely, that would be great. I think 4 o'clock.
based on us doing this building.
Yeah, thank you, John. Yeah,
I was just gonna ask
thank you.
that. Okay. Don't want
Say at 4 or 5?
4 o'clock. 4 o'clock.
at the very least, I guess, the building risk
Yeah, the builder's risk
And,
policy, yes.
and others.
I'll give, our agent a heads up on that too, John, thank you.
Different. Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion.
Sean Eddy,
Second.
second by Bill Leisha. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Executive Director.
Wanted to let everybody know that the snow removal bids are due in the office this Friday. So hopefully we'll get some interest on that bid moving forward. And then after that, landscape RFP will be next to go out hopefully sometime in July. Bob had mentioned some additional parking that's going to be added. We're anticipating around 9 spaces. I've already been in touch with excavating and paving and Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this week they'll be getting started,
Start on Tuesday.
gonna start on Tuesday.
And where will they be located?
On this side, on the High Top Drive side, they'll just go down the
Straight
road
down.
further.
Continue
Yeah.
down.
Going to-
There's a,
We do have some additional parking now at the Highlands.
correct.
Great.
Interesting layout.
It is, isn't it? It's a little strange.
Are
But,
they stacking cars, Chris, or what?
Well,
Just
about.
They put it where an entrance is.
It's across the entrance to the, so on
You know,
Island, you can come out of each end of the parking
Yeah.
lot of each. So I drove out yesterday through the parking spaces.
it will not, look, right now, there will be cones on the weekend, just like we did during the winter.
Okay.
And it's temporary, it's only for the weekends right now, and we'll see how it works. Worst scenario is, it doesn't work and we take them out. But it gives us, what, 5 or 6 more spaces?
That's actually, they're quite good, I just didn't see them.
Is that what, whoa, say it again?
They're quite good.
Oh, good, goddamn.
Like I said, I just drove through them.
The cones will help a lot.
okay, Megan, keep going.
They're supposed to be there this morning, so.
I never looked to be
We'll be able to get some additional space, around 9.
In summary.
Yes. And then finally, we continue to explore options for the snack shack moving forward for the rest of the summer.
And you know what, Megan, just to add a little bit to that, we certainly hope to have those options in place by the end of June, perhaps as early as next weekend, but we make no promises. We are exploring some different options from what you've seen in the past. And so I think when we're ready to go, you'll see it out there at, full size. Okay?
That's all I have.
Okay, Brian?
Thank you. So I'm just gonna touch briefly on items that the maintenance staff has been working on here to begin with. As mentioned, we did construct the bocce court. Thank you for the accolades once again. I think it turned out pretty good. Took a little longer than the first one. Access was not quite as ideal. But it worked out in the end, and we were able, all those wood chips out there are recycled product from the chipper. So it was a win-win there. Still have some left. Imagine, there's a pile down there. Other than that, we made some renovations to the snack shack and stuff here in the office, as well as over at the Highland Center to accommodate some more storage. Other than that, myself and the maintenance team have been working on our work orders. We are, fully transparent, we're pretty backed up at the moment, but we're doing our best to get those under control. We had a pretty successful week this week, and we'll continue that in the future. Outside of that, I'd like to touch base with the vendors. JML has been progressing through. They did meet all their deadlines for Memorial Day. Given the weather the last 2 or 3 weeks here, they did get a bit behind on the lawn mowing. They did make a good effort. They worked late days when the weather was good. They've worked pretty much every Saturday the last month and a half here. They are working here to wrap up their mowing cycle here today, so they're making an effort as much as they can. They're having, just like everywhere else, they're down a little bit of staff just because the environment that we're in currently. Ridgeview Road, their intent is to finish, they have one connection and to set one last catch basin early next week, and the paving is scheduled for later in the week next week. And the same paving contractor will come over and pave the additional parking spaces over here at the same time.
Who's that?
Leasock Excavating is doing the excavation. The paving is gonna be done by LTM. And just this week, we made way. We got all of our storage items outside of the location where the restroom will be at the Highland Center. Barry Frazier and his team plan to begin that work next week. They're waiting on the commode unit to come in, but he anticipates that next week. That's all I have.
Great. Is that a public bathroom?
Anyone will be able to access it.
Okay.
So I think the primary use is for vendors, people playing on the tennis courts, internal staff, because right now the only facility over there is the restrooms for the pool itself.
Okay.
You would enter by where the security people come to?
Yes, you would enter the door from the Highlands parking area that has the security sign on it. That would go directly into the bathroom. That door would be unlocked.
Okay.
And, the access to security would be locked up and the access to our area would be locked up, so it's just directly into the restroom.
Okay, good.
Do we need to put a sign?
Yeah, my thought was to put something on the glass door
That's
there.
fine, okay. That'd be great.
I don't really wanna call a bathroom an amenity. But probably a good idea to let people know it's there. Okay. Okay, anything else, Brian?
No, that's all, thank you.
Okay, sounds like a lot's getting done. Okay, committee reports. Bob, anything else under finance
No, for audit.
or audit? Okay, we have a page from the ACC. Bill, anything you want to add?
No, everything's going well with the ACC. Nothing drastic going on.
Yeah, busy though.
Very busy. No, nothing drastic. The big home's going up in Imperial, that's huge. Okay, he has a foundation in now. That's progressing. I hope he has enough money to finish it.
I'm sure he will.
He has a lot of guts to start that building right now. God bless him.
Maintenance committee, we don't have a report today. Rules and regs, we do have a page. Chris, thanks for working with that group.
Yeah, I'll just make a quick comment, Pat. In the committee, we talked about, these changes to the website and getting the board approval. My recommendation was just to put all that into the report, and then the board sees it. So we can just go ahead and update the website.
Okay, great. Social and rec, you know, I think we do have a page on that, am I correct? And, no report from the branding media committee. We have a page from the SLRP committee and a page from nominating and leadership. Just in terms of those two committees, as everyone knows, the SLRP committee has been very busy. They have made their presentation, and we're very grateful for that work. The Nominating and Leadership Development Committee, which is a subcommittee of the SLRP, has also issued a report. I do want to announce for probably the 15th time that there is a meeting this afternoon at 4 p.m. for any community member who's interested in running for the board in the upcoming election. There are 4 seats open. The purpose of the meeting this afternoon is to answer any questions the potential candidates may have. The committee representative, or maybe just one representative, will be there. There will be some board members there to answer any questions that you may have. If you have not signed up, that doesn't mean you can't come. So, please plan to attend if you're at all interested. Okay. No report from the Wi-Fi committee, and we do have a page from the communications. Chris Humble, anything you want to add to your report?
No, Pat, thank you very much. We're good.
Okay, good. Do I have a motion to accept the committee report?
I will make that motion.
Motion by Bob,
I'll second.
second by John Eddie. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Well, I guess we do have a report on the HV utility services. Good news on that front. Bob, if you want to share that?
Yeah, I'm very happy to share this. As many of you know, we have been working on trying to improve quality of water here at Hidden Valley. I've personally been involved with this for the last 7 years, so I'm very excited to provide this report today. It was a big week. This week, HV Utility Services received 2 things. One, they received an occupancy permit for the water treatment plant that they've constructed. And secondly, and maybe more importantly, they also received their operating permit from the Department of Environmental Protection in Pennsylvania. So that means that the new water treatment plant can now be started up, and we can start to try to filter water. The timing of that was very good because the storage tank was just cleaned the first week of June. So the combination of those 2 things contribute to, hopefully, we will be able to experience some clean water. Now, I need to at least put the caveat in here that this, is not perfect, right? We need to probably do a lot of line flushing, there'll be testing, the utility is under requirement to do water sampling, et cetera, at periodic dates, send that information in. So, homeowners, I think this is really a very positive development. More work to do, but certainly a step in the right direction, and, you know, after a very long and arduous process to get this far. So continue, please, if you're experiencing brown water, please make sure you call the company. You can also file a complaint with the, PUC, but calling the company is very important. The utility has a requirement that they have to report the number of complaints to, as part of their, semi-month or, bi-monthly reports that they file with the PUC. So some good news on the Hidden Valley Utility Services front.
And I don't think we can expect an overnight 100% improvement, but I think we can expect improvement.
Yeah.
There are other system issues, that are gonna impact, the strength of this improvement, and I think those will have to be addressed further down the road. But, fingers crossed that this represents a material improvement.
Let me add a couple.
Yeah, please, Dan.
We talked to Mr. Kittler the other day, Thursday, I guess it was, and he was somewhat surprised that we knew that had an issue so quickly. And we also talked to Glenn down there, and they are actually putting treated water into the system.
Great.
All the tests passed with flying colors, so they opened it up, and it is now in the system. Now, it will take several weeks to tweak the system and get it balanced right and get it totally structured to where it's on autopilot, so to speak. And within about 2 weeks, there'll be another flushing agenda set out with lists of dates of different areas that they're gonna flush. So pay attention to that, and you will be required, or it'll be your responsibility to flush within your units, to flush hot water tanks and water lines and toilet tanks and all that kind of mechanisms to get the water through. Now, you will experience brown water when there are breaks or problems, as Bob said. That's one example of when you, now, next 2 weeks, everybody's gonna see some brown water. It's not gonna change overnight. It's gonna be the same way for a couple of weeks yet, at least a couple of weeks. So, don't start reporting things within the week or next, but after that, if you have issues, report, because they can isolate the different lines and figure out where the problems are. And it may require additional flushing, or breaks are gonna be a problem forever. Whenever there's a break, you're gonna have brown water. It's gonna happen. It's not gonna go away. So, if you get brown water after a couple of weeks, report that, and they can try to isolate it and find out whether it's a flushing problem or a break problem. But, thanks to everyone's efforts, we were able to get that permit in record time.
Yeah, that's record time.
Yeah, it was less than a month, 3 weeks maybe.
3 weeks, I think.
3 weeks it was sent in, and we got approval from DEP, and, the committee was more shocked, I think, than anybody that it happened that quick. But brown water is not gonna end tomorrow. There's at least a 2-week interim period, and then start reporting if you have issues, so that they can track where these issues are.
Dan, if you would, I see Chris Humble is still with us up there. I think it might be a good idea to include what you're saying in the weekly update, so that you can control expectations to some degree, and give them some guidance. You know, we have some people here today, but, you know, news sometimes travels slowly. So, maybe work with Chris and put together a couple of sentences on that for the weekly update.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a report from the security company, and Chris Lindbergh did provide a report on the Jefferson Township meeting.
Thank you, Chris.
We thank him for handling that for us.
Pat, do you want me to run through the SRC 2 activities as a report?
I guess that's where it would go, yeah.
We should add that. 12.4.
Okay, we'll add that as 12.4. We had a question about it earlier, so, if John would go ahead and take that one.
And Phil and I have been working on it as of, last week. The Morton building contract was signed by Pat. We did, also sign a notice to proceed because of a clause within that contract, so that they can, proceed ahead. We've started the building permit activity. Our hopes is to submit that building permit on Monday. It takes approximately 3 weeks to get the building permit. We're able to cut trees, but we can't do any excavation until that time. We did receive the new layout from K2, the modified layout of what we are building, so we have a layout drawing from them. And, we have contacted, 3 contractors for site work. And, all 3 were interested, and, we're gonna put a package together for them to bid next week. That's it.
Question?
So the drawing right now is not to have walls, is that correct?
That is correct.
One section with walls. There's one area where we have the bathrooms and the, utility room and a little storage space and,
But the
access
meeting
to-
space would not have.
access.
But since we have this upswing of money this year, because we sold so many places and stuff, isn't it possible to put some of that money so that the building could be used in winter?
You know what, certainly, it's a good question. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here. As everybody is aware, as of July 1st, we will be not only self-governed, but self-managed. What has come with that are a few bumps in the road in terms of space. New office personnel, needs for storage, and all of that sort of thing. That may prompt, the need to spend money to create some more space for staff, for storage, for equipment. We're looking at a variety of options, one of which frankly may involve enclosing part of or adding on to this pavilion. We're not ready to commit to that because we're looking at a number of options. I think what may help, and I'll be honest with you, when I think of a pavilion, I think of the kind of pavilion I'm building in my backyard, 4 pillars with a roof. That's not what this is. And so what I'm really wondering, John D., we have a rendering of this pavilion that is attached to the contract. And again, I'm gonna prevail upon Chris Humble, who does the weekly update for us right now. Perhaps we could,
We'll send that to Chris and see if.
yeah, include this rendering in the weekly update so everybody understands what this structure is. It is far more substantial than you would think. Is it 100% enclosed? No. I think that it's going to have a lot of use because if it's raining, you're gonna be able to use it. If there's a torrential downpour, you're not gonna be able to use it, right? Water's gonna come in the sides. But if there's, a rain and there's Friday night, happy hour, people will be able to move into the pavilion and have coverage and continue to visit. We want more indoor space, and we're working on that. To your point, do we have some additional cash now? Yes, we do. Can we allocate all of it to enclose that space? Maybe not, because we have the priority of office space. But we're with you in terms of wanting it and looking for ways to get it done.
Because we do have a lot of winter activities, and this only holds so many, and so a lot of times people wanted to come clean. And so, people were hoping
Yes.
would be able to get that.
One of the advantages of the Morton structure is that we can enclose parts of it or all of it in the future if we want to. So it's a really nice building from that perspective. So we get this constructed, maybe we use it for a couple of years and there's demand from the homeowners saying, hey, we could really use if part of that were enclosed. This structure, this system will allow us to do that. So that's a real nice benefit of it.
And I just wanted to comment, I really appreciate the daily, weekly updates that, I didn't realize Chris was providing that, but that is really a nice feature for everybody.
Oh, he's
Okay,
gonna
good.
And I think this is nice,
Head now.
offering it on Saturday, because a lot of people that do come up on Sunday owners, but a lot of people that come up just don't get here on Friday. So hopefully, maybe the next time you have it, more people will attend, but I thought that was a nice gesture.
Okay, great. Certainly for the summer, the 3rd Saturday of each of the upcoming summer months, we'll be here.
And maybe we can force the hand of enclosing it by having a couple board meetings in November and December.
Still got Zoom, John.
I knew you were gonna say that.
So John D., just to go back, I think homeowners can probably look forward to that excavating work to be done sometime July, August.
last 2 weeks in July.
Okay, so you'll
Because
start to see progress on this pavilion.
First the trees, and then the, probably take a week for the trees, and then 2 weeks for the excavation.
Okay,
Don't be shocked by how many trees are taken down. It's just a process.
well, we'll plant more,
Well, we'll plant.
we're gonna plant more.
Is somebody foresting them out? I mean, are we selling the wood, or is?
We have some options. One of the options is, one of the excavators will knock the trees down, and, we have, a talk with somebody that will take the wood that turns into firewood.
Pay somebody to bring firewood, I didn't know.
And we'll see if we can work a deal with somebody on that.
Right.
You know what, Dan raises a good point. All those calls last year about firewood at the summit and, so we'll keep that in mind.
We're gonna talk to Social and Rec about having a firewood splitting weekend.
Think of the liability, John.
We were just talking about insurance earlier.
No action.
That's why we're talking about it, okay?
You're in charge of that.
I got it. I've got this beautiful splitter. It's been sitting there. It just.
Okay, guys, we're gonna move on to new business before we get into real.
For God's sake.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the addition of CIT Financial as our authorized depository for the Hidden Valley Foundation, Inc.
I will make that motion, Pat.
Motion by Chris Taylor, second?
Second.
Second by Bill Leisure. Any questions on the motion?
Pat,
Thomas,
just
go
to
ahead.
clarify, that we're adding them as an additional, okay?
Okay.
We have a number of depository institutions, so we're just adding them as an
Okay.
additional, so.
Okay, and just so everybody is aware, this financial institution is one that has recommended.
Integrated.
TOPS as our foundation software.
They specialize in HOAs, thank you.
They specialize in HOA, so that's wonderful. Okay, no further questions or comments on the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. So, I need a motion to approve the soft dome structure evaluation proposal from Gibson Thomas Engineering. That proposal was in your folder or your packet, and the cost of that proposal is $3,500.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by John Eddie,
I'll second that.
second by Dan Martin. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. 13.3 is a motion to reject bids submitted for the fiscal year 22 road paving project. I do want to provide an explanation for this, but we'll need a motion and a second motion.
I'll make a motion to accept.
John Eddie,
I'll second.
second by Chris Taylor. Who wants to take that one? Why are we rejecting the bid?
Yeah, where'd it come from? 'Cause it-
Megan?
We received 2 bids, and they were extremely far apart in price. So went back and did a discussion with Peter Butts from Gibson Thomas, and he looked at our specs and identified a couple of problem areas, that we should correct. He recommended that we reject the bid, redo the specs, and then
So the bids were not technically acceptable, or just based on our information, they were not acceptable?
based off of our information. He saw a potential for change orders that it would have ended up
Who's redoing this?
increasing.
Yeah. Peter?
Pete and Gibson Thomas are going to redo the specs.
Okay, so they'll be able to.
And then the thought process was that we would take these projects, roll them in with next year's projects, have one larger bid that would go out, which would probably make it more appealing to potential vendors,
And who was,
to go
what
ahead
did
and
you,
submit a proposal.
how many bids did you send out?
Brian,
I'm going off of memory, it was 6 or 8 of them, and we received 2.
Who were the two?
And the two were significantly different, John.
It was, what, over $100,000 difference,
it
right?
was,
145.
It was
it
huge.
was like
Who were the two?
$150,000 difference.
102 were New Enterprise and Tresco Paving.
Did the expert not give a bid?
No, they didn't, they were contacted, they didn't bid,
Okay, so maybe with the new specs they'll bid.
potential.
I mean, they did our road, they did an excellent job on our road.
They've bid in the past.
Okay, they,
Did LTM come back with for the bid?
No,
Guys, keep your voice
there were
up,
only,
so.
there were only two.
Only two.
Only two.
Does that cause any impact on a delay of what has been proposed for our paving? Is it gonna create a problem anywhere?
I don't think so. My
Okay.
opinion is no.
When is the timeline for new specs?
We can get with Peter to get those in motion, but my recommendation would be that we put these 2 years together and do one larger bid package, so it probably would not go out until next spring.
Okay, so we're not gonna do any new paving this year?
That's the recommendation.
And is that does that comply with the reserve study?
Well, that was my next question. We got a reserve study when?
Well, actually, next year, we're due for a reserve study, and we typically pair that with a road evaluation
Yeah.
study. So, we should probably kind of package this all together, right? Get the road evaluation done, and that would drive the road bid process, right? Tie it all in together. So we would
So
want
we
that
have
to
a
start
potential of not
February,
paving
March.
for 3 years, Bob.
Well, no,
Potential.
well, ideally, we could pave next summer, fall of '22, and wrap up in spring of '22.
No, I guess the point was gonna be made. Now we're at the point where we've talked about taking asphalt down, rebuilding, and
Right.
adding, working on our drainage situation. So we have the potential not to be repaving for 3 years.
It would depend, John, right?
Okay, that's,
I mean, I think we would want to, we've been successful getting the road study done. We have found the reserve study is rather conservative.
Yep.
We've complemented it with a very specific road study by, I think it's been Eads or CME, right?
CME's done it.
Yeah, so have them come in and, I think we wanna start this 1st of January, right? Which sometimes can be a little challenging with weather, but by the time they come in, do their evaluation, and what we have done historically is we've literally taken the road study work and kind of hammered it out into our budget so much per year.
so should we start to get
Enable us to
CME,
pave the whole month.
get Eads involved now? To start taking a look, or wait till next year?
I think we wanna wait to see the further deterioration in the roads for the next 6 months or so. I would suggest they come in January, February-ish, Brian.
It's a rough time of year, but typically we have our greatest deterioration of the winter months.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
in my mind, after winter timeframe would
I
be
think
best.
that would be the best time.
Are
Why don't we
we gonna pave any this year?
We had budgeted $120,000 for some paving work.
Were any roads identified?
Yes, there was roads identified.
And are they gonna deteriorate to be more expensive next year if we don't do it this year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an engineer, but in my opinion, I don't think we're gonna see much difference between now and then.
Okay.
Let's do this. I think these are all good questions. Megan, why don't you develop a timeline, keeping in mind, next year's studies that will need to be done and the roads that perhaps are high priority. Let's, to John's point, let's not lose sight of a road that's in poor condition right now.
Could we do a little research on why the other 4 people no bid?
I think we can reach out to them.
I mean, if we reach out and ask them why they no bid, if it's just, we don't need the business, we don't do this, that's fine, but if it's like, well, your specs were all wrong.
Which is
Right.
probably
Documented,
then
sure.
you're gonna-
Get their input
What
and,
we do with the specs, we
yeah.
have to do this next go around.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just add, and I know we're looking at the RFP process, sort of Megan, Bob and I, but, I think if we're gonna put motions forward to reject bids, then I think we need some, report out of why. I'd like to have seen.
If you combine some of these two, they may be more interested in.
Well, I think from the perspective of what was the bid, how many bids went out, we're rejecting the bid based on the advice of for these reasons.
so I think we've
To close out the process.
extracted the information, but probably should have a report.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
John, we have Bob Midoff and Brian and I were talking about a fabric sealer that might preserve the roads a lot longer, and we're still checking into that. Instead of paving, put a sealer on.
Well, with that, but also, it was also the fact, we're now getting 4, 5, 6 inches of paving on top of the original, and all our berms are going, our drainage needs to be addressed, and that's,
Right.
and didn't say that, but your question about extra money going towards the pavilion, we have some big expenditures coming down the road that clearly has to do with drainage and our ponds. So Bob is right about, and Pat is right about looking at the pavilion, but we've got some other issues in regards to roads and drainage that is going to take an awful lot of money.
Okay.
Hopefully that's considered in the reserves.
It is, Stan.
Way over there.
Well, but,
Okay, go ahead. That's right.
no, but it had to do with, Eads did the original evaluation on the roads. And for the most part, if I remember right, most of our roads are fairly decent, correct? There weren't a lot that were in bad shape. But again, it's the fact that we've been all paving, and now we've got other issues from a drainage standpoint that we gotta address.
I just meant the reserve study. I would think would address that when you walk around and do that stuff.
And probably, and, I don't mean to pull, but, it makes sense for our engineer to be involved.
Yes.
I mean, that's why we have Gibson Thomas. They need to be involved in these types of decisions.
No question.
Okay. Okay, very good. So we have a motion by John Eddy, second by Chris Taylor to reject, the paving bids for fiscal year '22 at this time. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. That was a Zoom meeting.
So what? Just couldn't resist.
I couldn't resist.
Felt more like at home that way, right?
It did.
Okay. Okay, our next meeting date is, July 17th at 9 a.m. So we will be here next month on a Saturday morning, hoping that the pool is crowded at that time, and that we're having better weather. Does anybody have anything else for the good of the order? No, but then I will just say, thanks to everybody. Everybody's got a project. I know everybody's working hard, and I truly appreciate it. To those of you, on the Zoom, call, thank you for all of your efforts on behalf of the foundation. And with that, our new executive director will be having office hours, from 10:15 to 11:30 this morning. So, please come and meet her and, have a conversation and a cup of coffee and a donut.
And there are donuts.
And there are donuts.
Thank you, Chris.
So if there's nothing further, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
9:55.
Yep.
Way to go, Madam President.
Covered a lot of ground tonight.
I look back at some of the old minutes, like you guys, Brian, she was a guy that always, second to adjourn.
I know you're in landscaping, but outside the pond, you see this?
Bill?